Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for your patience. You've joined Xunlei's first quarter of 2021 earnings conference call. At this time, all participants are in a listen-only mode. There will be a question and answer session after the management's remarks. I would now like to turn the call over to your host, Investor Relations Manager, Ms. Mingnan Gao. Please take over, ma'am.
Thank you. Good morning and good evening. Thank you for joining Xunlei's first quarter of 2021 earnings conference call. For our agenda today, Mr. Eric Zhou, the CFO, will first read a prepared remark by Mr. Jinbo Li, Chairman and CEO of Xunlei. After that, he will provide additional details on the financial results and wrap up with our revenue guidance for the second quarter of 2021. We will be happy to take your questions after our management remarks. Please be limited to 2 questions at a time so others can their question in as well. Today's conference call is being recorded and a replay of the call will be available on our IR website afterwards. Our earnings press release was distributed earlier today and is now also available on our IR website. Please note that discussion today will contain certain forward-looking statements made under the Safe Harbor provisions of the U.S. Private Securities Litigation Reform Act of 1995. Such statements are based on management's current expectations under current market conditions and are subject to risks and uncertainties that are difficult to predict, which may cause actual results to differ materially from those made in the forward-looking statements. Please refer to our SEC filings for more detailed description of the risk factors that may affect our results. We do not undertake any duty to update any forward-looking statements except as required under applicable laws. During this call, we will refer to both GAAP and non-GAAP financial measures. A reconciliation of non-GAAP to comparable GAAP measures can be found in our earnings press release. Please note that all numbers are in US dollars unless otherwise stated. And with that, let me pass to our CFO, Mr. Eric Zhou, for prepared remarks.
Thank you, Mingnan. Hi everyone, I'm Eric Zhou, CFO of Xunlei Limited. Thanks again for joining Xunlei's first quarter of 2021 earnings conference call. The following is the prepared remark by Mr. Jinbo Li, our Chairman and CEO. Good morning and good evening, everyone. Welcome to Xunlei's first quarter of 2021 earnings conference call. We delivered robust financial and operating results in the first quarter due to our solid execution on the product innovation strategy. We saw the growth of subscription and cloud computing service revenues and the enhancement of key operating metrics, which contributed to a double-digit growth rate of the bottom line. In the first quarter, our strong emphasis on strategic execution as well as operational enhancement drove steady and high-quality growth in revenue and net income, following a turnaround performance in the previous quarter. The total revenue in the first quarter of 2021 was $53.3 million, a 5.9% growth sequentially. The net income increased to $6.8 million, a 45.4% growth quarter-over-quarter, which was mainly due to the high gross margin and optimized operations. It gives us confidence in our ability to uncover Xunlei's value and monetize future growth. The solid first quarter results demonstrated our efforts on business breakthroughs and innovation when entering the year of 2021. We have been building on our competitive strengths we have gained over the years and doubling down our efforts to improve our product offerings to our users. We will always be looking out for new ways to create more value for our customers through user experience enhancement and technological innovation. Now I'd like to shed some color to our main business segments. First, let's take a look at our subscription service. We saw the subscription revenue increased by 6.9% sequentially, which was mainly driven by the user base expansion we believe our product initiatives to optimize user experience started to pay off, which was reflected through the expanded user base and their willingness to pay for value-added services. And at the end of the first quarter, our subscription services reached 4.05 million subscribers, and the average revenue per user in the first quarter was 35.5 RMB. At the same time, we also saw some signs of revival of our improved user activity and retention rate on our platform, which also benefited our monetization efficiency and revenue growth in advertising and other online game businesses. These results demonstrated the strength of our subscription services. We are confident that we still have room to continue to develop our subscriber base and further explore the potential of users' lifetime cycle value if we remain focused on providing users with top-notch experience and creating value for them. We think the potential and the resilience of our subscription business also reside in the scalability of this service, which can be demonstrated by the growth potential of the user base and the breadth of service offerings. We believe user experience is very important to scale our subscription business. Therefore, we will continue our efforts in this regard and upgrade our user experience in downloading, cloud video playing, and cloud storage. And in this way, we will be able to strengthen customer loyalty and retain more fee-paying users. On top of that, we will strive to provide additional value-added products and services and deliver top-notch user experience to increase the subscribers, which will in turn lead to more venues for monetization. Now turning to our cloud computing business. We kept the growth momentum for our cloud computing business and achieved a 10.9% revenue growth quarter-over-quarter. It's worth noting that we expect the demand from our existing and new clients will be growing as people's entertainment and social activities are more and more video-based. We trust our continuing investment in technological innovation will open new opportunities in cloud computing for us, which is driven by the acceleration of the digital transformation trend of our society. As a result of our performance in the quarter discussed above, we have updated our second quarter revenue guidance to reflect the recent progress. I'm confident that we are on track to pursue business expansion and breakthroughs. I believe that Xunlei's strong business fundamentals will enable us to achieve our growth prospects and to deliver meaningful value to our users, partners, and shareholders. And I look forward to sharing with you our progress in the near future. Thank you. That was the prepared remarks by our Chairman and CEO. Now I'd like to review the financial results of the first quarter of 2021 and provide a revenue guidance for the second quarter of 2021. Total revenues for the first quarter of 2021 was $53.3 million, representing an increase of 5.9% from the previous quarter. The increase was primarily driven by the revenue increase from cloud computing and subscription services. Revenues from cloud computing and other IVAS combined were $27.3 million, representing an increase of 5.7% from the previous quarter. The cloud computing revenue was $21 million, increasing 10.9% sequentially. The increased cloud computing and other IVAS revenues were mainly due to increased demand for our cloud computing services. Revenues from subscriptions were $22.1 million, a 6.9% increase from the previous quarter. the number of subscribers was approximately 4.05 million as of March 31st, 2021, compared with 3.83 million as of December 31st, 2020. The average revenue per subscriber for the first quarter of 2021 was 35.5 RMB, compared with 35.9 RMB for the previous quarter. Revenues from online advertising were $3.9 million, representing an increase of 2.4% from the previous quarter. Cost of revenues was $24.4 million, representing 45.8% of our total revenues, compared with $23.3 million, or 46.4% of our total revenues in the previous quarter. The increase was mainly due to the increased sales of our cloud computing services. Gross profit for the first quarter was $28.6 million, representing an increase of 6.7% from the previous quarter. Gross margin was 53.7% in the first quarter, compared with 53.3% in the previous quarter. The increase in gross profit and the gross margin was mainly due to increased revenues of our subscription business, which had higher gross margin than other product lines. Research and development expenses for the first quarter were $13.3 million, representing 24.9% of our total revenues, compared with $12 million, or 23.9% of our total revenues in the previous quarter. Sales and marketing expenses for the first quarter were $4.5 million, representing 8.4% of our total revenues, compared with $2.8 million, or 5.6% of our total revenues in the previous quarter. The increase was mainly due to more promotional activities. General and administrative expenses for the first quarter were $6.6 million, representing 12.5% of our total revenues, compared with $7.9 million, or 15.7% of our total revenues in the previous quarter. The decrease was primarily due to less employee welfare and professional consulting expenses compared with those for the previous quarter. Operating income was $4.2 million, compared with $4.1 million in the previous quarter. Net income was $6.8 million, compared with $4.6 million in the previous quarter. Non-GAAP net income from continuing operations was $7.4 million in the first quarter of 2021, compared with $4.8 million in the previous quarter. The increased net income and the non-GAAP net income were primarily due to the increase in revenue of our major business lines and a high gross margin as discussed above. Diluted earnings per ADS from continuing operations in the first quarter of 2021 was approximately 10 cents, as compared with about 7 cents in the previous quarter. As of March 31st, 2021, the company had cash equivalents, and short-term investments of approximately $245.2 million, compared with $255.1 million as of December 31st, 2020. Now turning to the revenue guidance for the second quarter of 2021. We expect total revenues to be between $54 million and $58 million, and the midpoint of the range represents a quarter-over-quarter increase of approximately 5.1%. This estimate represents management's preliminary view as of the date of this release, which is subject to change, and any change could be material. Now we conclude prepared remarks for the conference call. Operator, we are ready to take questions.
Certainly, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin the question and answer session. If you wish to ask a question, please press *1 on your telephone keypad and wait for your name to be announced. If you wish to cancel your request, you can press the pound or hash key. Once again, it is * followed by 1 to ask a question. We have a question coming from the line of Zhu. Please go ahead.
你好，我想问一下迅雷的短视频的新的 APP 大概在这2个月会出个体验版吗？或者是登测版吗？谢谢。
它这个就是我先讲中文，等会再翻成英文啊。Speak Chinese first, then translate into English。我们选择这个做短视频啊，实际上是有一些考虑，就是我们在经历了去年的业务调整和优化后呢，就是公司的业务产品线还在稳定发展啊。就是我们下一阶段呢，实际上需要提高规模和增速，实际上这就需要我们在存量用户上有些精细化运作，用更丰富的产品来增加用户流程，开辟新的增量市场啊。就是另外呢，就是我们基于现有的产品线呢，我们觉得我们在 2C 业务上面啊，能比较有比较大的就是商业化的这个潜力啊。虽然这个竞争就比较激烈，但是在社交和娱乐视频化的这个趋势下，我们觉得短视频仍有比较大的这个市场空间啊。而且呢，就是它这样的有多样化的变现方式，它跟我们现在的 C 端的业务也有较强的一个互补性，就是对，所以我们现在正在开发就是这个业务，就是我们就是具体就什么时候能推出，现在我们还没有一个很具体的一个时间表，但是这个是在我们的就是这个计划上，对。Now I will speak briefly in English. We think, basically the person asked whether we are developing a short video business and when we are going to launch this product. We think it is the right time for us to develop short form video product. We form our rationale from several points of consideration. First is the operation of each of business lines is stable and positive after transition in last year, and we are pursuing in the next stage of growth, and so we need to enhance retention of current users with additional product features and capture further growth opportunities. Secondly, and I believe that our 2C business still has promising growth potential. As users' social and entertainment demands are becoming more video-based, short-form video is a kind of business opportunities with growing market and monetization potential. And it is also a great supplement to our existing products. And we intend to enter this market by focusing on certain vertical contents that may be appealing to some groups of users, and we believe that there's still some rooms for us to capitalize on our investment. And that being said, we have been research and developing certain products. But for the time being, we still don't have a specific timeline to launch this product. But we intend to launch this product in the near future. Thank you for your question.
We have the next question coming from the line of Yusei Zhang from Retail Investor. Please go ahead.
Eric 你好，我有2个问题。
Okay.
第一个问题是，网信云的业务目前主要依赖于中国的电信运营商的带宽，请问迅雷如何建立与运营商的关系，使得网信的业务可以长期增长？第二个问题是，迅雷 APP 的付费用户目前是400万，但是财报里没有报告没有付费的用户有多少， 比如说财报里能不能够报告这个迅雷的 APP 的日活跃用户和月活跃用户分别是多少？
就是我先讲中文，就第一个呢，就是关于我们就是网信，它的网信业务，它是一个创新性的业务啊，就是我们用的是一个共享经济的模式。这个模式实际上以前也得到行业的一个认可，而且我们以前也发过一些公告。实际上我们还在探讨跟有些运营商的合作，就是对，因为这是有些涉及到商业方面的就是信息，我们不便于就是对外披露很多，就是对。第二个就是关于对我们迅雷 App， 就是有些就是月度的月活这些数字呢，就是我们平常实际上就是确实就是没有经常的一些披露，但是我们在我们的年报里面实际上有些数据是可以披露的，所以这个呢我可以就是麻烦您去可以看一下，就是有些具体的数字，就是您需要是看哪些方面的数字，如果没有的话，我们再看就在合适的时候我们再进行披露。The question basically, he had two questions. One, first is about our Wangxin's cloud computing business model, and he said how we could expand our business in the future, how we could deepen our cooperation with national telecommunication carriers. Basically, I said our cloud computing business is an innovative business, and we use the so-called sharing economy business model, and at one hand we try to use the bandwidth contributed by our users. At the same time, we are also exploring potential cooperation opportunities with our national telecom carriers. And the second question he asks whether we would disclose our Xunlei app users, either DAU or MAU, and we don't disclose it on a frequent basis because of commercial considerations, but we do have certain numbers disclosed in our recently issued annual report. So I would encourage interested investors to read our annual report to see if you can find the right information. Thank you for your question.
谢谢。
We have the next question. This is coming from Marcel M. from Dongxi. Please go ahead.
Hi, and thanks a lot for taking my question. I'm wondering if you could elaborate more on the hybrid P2P technology in cloud computing and for your CDN services. What are the main advantages and how are they perceived by the market? Maybe, for instance, could you give a number on the current clients and if this number of clients that are using it is increasing or not? Thank you.
Okay. Xunlei is one of the pioneers in P2P or P2SP the network technology, and over the years we have developed in-depth expertise in this regard. As I mentioned earlier, answering the previous caller's question, we are using an innovative the business model. It's like based on the sharing economy. We crowdsource the idle bandwidth from our users of one thing called hardware intelligence and process it and to provide the service to our enterprise customers. And one of our in addition to our technological qualification and the expertise, one of our advantages is we are a low-cost service providers, and because of this, today, I'd like to say many of the top internet companies in China and some of the household name internet companies are our customers, and because of the confidentiality, I'm not at liberty to disclose their names, but I'd like to say some of the most well-known internet companies in China are our clients. Thank you.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, it is star followed by 1 if you wish to ask a question. The next question comes from Su. Please go ahead.
Eric， 我还想问那个你们写字楼新办公室的话，大概今年年底会不会搬进去啊？谢谢。
Okay, thank you. 我们这个楼现在已经进入这个扫尾阶段了，就是我们呢就是原来预计应该会在4月底竣工，但是因为呢有些受到市政工程的一些影响，我们目前呢预计会在6月份或者7月份竣工。我们现在呢正在准备大楼的精装修工作，我们预计呢精装修会在年底前完成。我们呢就是很可能会在保守的说应该会在明年初应该会搬入新的大楼。The question is, he asked about the status of Xunlei buildings under construction, and we previously planned to have the building construction completed by the end of the April, but now it looks like we are going to have it completed in either June or July, because it was impacted by the neighboring the municipal construction projects, which affect the construction of our buildings, and we are in the process of the preparing for the internal renovation work, and we plan to have the building internal renovation completed by the end of this year, and so it's most likely we may move into the new building at the beginning of next year. Thank you.
Thank you. We have the next question from Yusei Sang, retail investor. Please go ahead.
Eric， 我还有一个问题，今年的那个1季度的财报里边，云计算以外的其他的互联网业务的营收其实是下降的，请问是什么原因？因为其他的业务都在增长，只有这一块的业务的营收是在下降，请问是什么原因？
就是其他业务主要像一些直播之类，就是我们这个下降。另外呢，就是我们还有一些就是比较小的有些硬件的就是销售，我们去年呢实际上就是有些剩余的库存的硬件，我们去年有些出售，但是今年呢就是没有这些一次性的就是出售。对。Basically asked in the first quarter, all other business showed improvement, except for the so-called other business. The other business, in the previous quarters, we had the other business basically included the video streaming business and some of the other one-time so-called the inventory clearance sales, and we didn't have in the last quarter, but we had in the previous quarters. So basically, our last quarter's other business was affected by some of the one-time event as well as of our live streaming business. Thank you.
谢谢。
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, it is star followed by the number 1 on your telephone keypad to ask a question.
Thank you, Guy, for your time and participation. If you have any questions, please visit our website at www.xunlei.com or send emails to our investors relations. Have a good day. Operator, I think we can conclude this conference call. Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our conference call for today. Thank you all for your participation. You may disconnect now.